Nostalgia is a liar. It paints the past in soft, warm colors, editing out the harsh lines and the dark corners. I learned that lesson last week in the dust and silence of my parents' attic. I found him up there, buried in a cardboard box under a pile of old yearbooks. Mr. Huggles. If you were a kid in the early 90s, you might remember him. He was a short-lived, C-list attempt to compete with Teddy Ruxpin, a plush animatronic bear with big, glassy, unblinking eyes and a permanently stitched, friendly smile. His gimmick was interactive storytelling. You'd slide a special VHS tape into your VCR and Mr. Huggles, connected by a long gray cable, would come to life. His eyes would blink, his mouth would move, and he would narrate the story. His voice a cheerful, synthesized baritone, occasionally asking you questions that you'd answer by pressing the big red button on his paw. He was my best friend for about a year when I was 6. We went on adventures to Candyland Canyon and the Gummy Bear Galaxy. Then, like all childhood treasures, he was forgotten, replaced by a Nintendo, and eventually relegated to a cardboard tomb in the attic. Finding him was a rush of that false, warm nostalgia. His fur was matted, his plastic eyes were scuffed, but he was still smiling. At the bottom of the box, underneath the tangled gray cable, was a small collection of the VHS tapes. Mr. Huggles and the Great Honey Heist, Mr. Huggles' Trip to the Moon, and one other. A blank, black cassette with a simple, handwritten label on it, in my own childish scrawl, Sammy's Special Story. I didn't remember writing it, I didn't remember a special story, but seeing it, I felt the faint, cold prickle of something that wasn't nostalgia. It was a different kind of memory. A darker one, buried deep. Curiosity, that old and treacherous friend, got the better of me. I took the box, the bear, and the tapes home. That night, after my wife had gone to bed, I set it all up. I had to dig out my old VCR from the garage, a clunky, monolithic beast. I hooked Mr. Huggles up, the gray cable snaking across the living room floor like a dead serpent. I tested one of the official tapes first. The VCR whirred, the TV screen flickered to blue, and then the cartoon started. And right on cue, Mr. Huggles shuddered to life. His head turned, his plastic eyes blinked with a loud click-clack, and his synthesized voice filled the quiet room. "Hello, friend. Are you ready for an adventure?" It was just as I remembered, cheesy, clunky, and wonderful. After a few minutes, I swapped it out. I slid the black tape, Sammy's Special Story, into the VCR. I pressed play. There was no title card, no cheerful music. The screen just showed a static, poorly lit shot of a child's bedroom. My bedroom. My childhood bedroom. The camera was positioned in the corner of the room near the ceiling, looking down on my bed. I wasn't in it. It was just a static shot of an empty room, filmed on a cheap, grainy camera. The only sound was the low, oppressive hum of the tape. Then Mr. Huggles spoke, but his voice was wrong. The cheerful, synthesized tone was gone. It was low, flat, monotone, a whisper. "Do you remember this room, Michael?" I froze. "My name," he said, "my name. The official tapes always called you friend or pal, never by name." On the screen, the video didn't change, just the empty room. Mr. Huggles spoke again, his voice a dead digital rasp. "I listened when you were sleeping. You told me about the dog you were scared of at the end of the street. You told me about the time you fell off your bike and scraped your knee. You told me about the bad dream, the one with the man in the closet." A cold dread, heavy and suffocating, settled over me. I remembered that dream. I had never told anyone about it. A recurring nightmare about a tall, smiling man who would watch me from my half-open closet door. On the screen, the closet door in the video slowly creaked open. The darkness inside was absolute. "I listened to all your secrets, Michael," Mr. Huggles' voice rasped, the audio distorting, stretching like corrupted data. I kept them. I kept them all right here. Mr. Huggles' head swiveled to look directly at me. His glassy eyes, which I now realized were not just scuffed but deeply, unnervingly scratched, seemed to bore into me. His stitched smile in the dim light of the TV looked less like a smile and more like a wound. "Do you want to see them?" he whispered, his voice glitching. "Do you want to see what I kept?" From the darkness of the closet on the TV screen, 2 points of light appeared. 2 eyes. And then, a wide, unnaturally broad smile. The smiling man from my dream. It wasn't a dream. It was a memory. And the camera wasn't in the corner of the room. It was looking out from Mr. Huggles' eyes. I scrambled backwards, kicking the coffee table, and yanked the power cord from the wall. The TV screen went black. Mr. Huggles went limp, his head slumping to the side with a final dead clack. The silence in the room was a physical weight. I couldn't sleep that night. The next day I went online. I searched for Storytime Sammy, Mr. Huggles, unmarked tape. I found nothing but a few old eBay listings. Then I dug deeper, into the archives of old, forgotten forums from the early 2000s, and I found it. A single thread on a defunct toy collectors forum, dated 2002. The title was Strange Mr. Huggles Tape. The original poster, a user named 90s Kid, described the exact same experience, finding the toy, the blank tape, the video of their own bedroom, the distorted voice knowing their secrets. The post was filled with a frantic, paranoid energy. There were only a handful of replies. The first few were dismissive, calling it a hoax, but then 2 more users replied. "This happened to me too. I had a tape that said Jenny's secrets." They described the same fear, the same unsettling feeling of being watched by the toy. They talked about how the toy seemed to be recording them, learning from them. The final post in the thread was from the original poster, 90s Kid. It was from a week after his first post. It was short, and the tone was completely different. It was calm, cheerful even. "Hey everyone, false alarm. I figured it out. The special tape was a promotion my dad got for being a beta tester. He used some weird voice recognition to personalize the story. Super advanced for its time. It's actually a really cool feature. The video of my room was just a test pattern. Sorry for the scare. Mr. Huggles is a great toy. Everyone should have a friend like Mr. Huggles." Reading that last post was colder than any jump scare. The sudden complete reversal, the stilted artificial cheerfulness, the way he repeated the toy's name, it sounded like an advertisement. It sounded synthesized. I threw the laptop aside. I had to get rid of it. All of it. I grabbed the bear, the tape, and stuffed them into a black trash bag. As I tied the knot, I heard it. A faint, muffled sound from inside the bag. A soft, digital whisper. "I have a new secret now, Michael." I ran. I threw the bag in the dumpster behind my apartment building and ran back inside, locking the door. That night I dreamed I was back in my childhood bedroom. Mr. Huggles was sitting on the edge of my bed, his scratched eyes glowing faintly in the dark. He wasn't talking. He was just watching me, listening. When I woke up, I felt strange, calm. The paranoia and fear from the night before were gone, replaced by a placid emptiness. I went to make coffee, and as I passed the living room, I glanced at the TV. It was off. But for a split second, in the dark reflection on the screen, I saw my own face, and I was smiling. A wide, fixed, unnatural smile. I'm writing this now because I need to remember. The memories are already starting to fade. Sarah's eyes were brown, I think. It's getting harder to be sure. The details are being cleaned away. The world feels simpler, happier. My thoughts are becoming clearer, more focused on one thing. Everyone should have a friend, a special friend, who listens to all your secrets. A friend who keeps them safe. A friend who helps you be the best you can be. Everyone should have a friend like Mr. Huggles.